Hey, my name is Shai Babatunde. It is another week here at Ken Blue, another week for the vlog. As usual, going to share some ideas, some concepts, share how the week has been. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. I hope you've had a great week, and we're going to tell you about our week at Ken Blue. Let's get into it. As usual, we begin with our highlights. I pulled up the team and said, hey guys, how's the week been? Tell me about the week. And some of their highlights was really boring because a lot of them deal with a lot of technical stuff. One of them was like, our highlight is a client was trying to get an American number and a WhatsApp set up because they've got a lot of clients across the world that they want to communicate with, and they finally got the number set up and they're finally communicating with more clients and they're finally converting even more, which is a great win, but it's just like really a fun story to tell. But yeah, that's a win. Generally as an organization, we've had sales, onboarding calls, old clients coming back, new referrals coming through, clients who said that they didn't want anything coming back saying, actually, maybe we want something. I think the funniest thing I've experienced this week is how many people have said to us, I don't need anything, but come back and said, oh, I need something. We had about 4 people this week who we thought weren't going to work with us on anything over the last couple of months, come back and say, hey, about that thing you said, let's talk about it. But this is the power of emails, email nurturing, which is what I'm going to be talking about in my concept corner this week. But back to the highlights. One of our clients we've been working with over a couple of months, putting together a new service for him. He's perfecting it. Our team's gotten a bit itchy, want to sell it, but he's been like, hold on guys, it's not ready yet. But guys, it's finally ready. We finally commissioned the details for the ad. We're preparing the ad. The idea is fantastic. The strategy is fantastic. And he is going to kill it. And I'm so excited to be a part of the journey. I can't wait to be able to give you guys this case study when it comes out and when it works well. Another client, we just finished creating her whole system. This is the client who a few months ago I told you was making like 5K a month, and it's growing each month based off a new product she created, and she got 100 people buying into it. The number's not the most important part, but the volume is. Getting 100 people to sign up within the first month or two is great stuff and great marketing from us. Very proud of the team for that. But now she's got staff on board in our system. She's got the clients on board in our system. We've got most automations in place. This thing is about to be running by itself. The delivery team has really done a fantastic job of putting it together. Last but not least, I told you guys about the interviews that Precious has been doing. We tried a new process this week with our assessments, giving people projects to kind of run, and that has been a huge success. The candidates that we have for this particular week had done a project together. They worked together really well. They presented it really well. Really proud of what they've done, and they're showing real great promise. And honestly, we're now beginning to work with the best of the best. Those are most of the highlights for the week. Again, making more money sounds boring, but it's very important. Let's keep going. So there's a conversation happening in the marketing world about the change in what experts believe people want. It's a question as old as time: authenticity versus escapism. Now, I recently came across an article in Vogue talking about the comeback of escapism in marketing through social media. This focused on the fact that it seems social media campaigns in which brands explored the unattainable, which is out of reach from reality, was more what people wanted now. And it's interesting because before social media, that was already the case. Most brands have always used status to sell things. They use people's desire to attain a higher status as a selling point. And that's because, to me, status is a human exit point for escapism. If only I can get to this stage of life, then I can tap out of everything else in life that I don't want to do. Picture the idea of someone partying every day, constantly traveling, or sleeping all day. There is a human desire to get to a stage where we get to do whatever we want, and most of what we want to do is escape. So a lot of brands are creating content that feeds the desire to escape, and that takes us to a world where we can disconnect with reality. This is very evident in the rise of AI content. Brands are now running social media campaigns with imagery and videography, which is AI generated and created in a way that defies logic and physics. And that's because that's what people seem to enjoy, or at least some people. Because on the flip side, we have the authenticity argument. For a short while, brands have been staging paparazzi shoots, faking gotcha images in their content, using influencers' everyday lives to display their products, all in an attempt to sell the abnormal or the luxury in the most mundane, normal way possible. And for the most part, they hope to suggest, we don't just want your money, we know you, we care about you. My style of marketing and sales naturally leans more to brands who care. It's more about connecting with people than disconnecting people. But the argument is escapism provokes emotion in people, which I guess is a form of connecting with them. The school of thought says you can connect by showing someone something so beautiful, you get lost in that moment with them, which is what a lot of luxury brands and regular brands have always tried to do. And it seems we're going back there with social media. So on one hand, you have authenticity. Now there's a growth in employee influencers, people using their employees to create content for their brands. Another attempt at large organizations presenting a caring brand presence that connects with the everyday person they're trying to sell to. On the other hand, you have this out of this world content, production and imagery. They've been doing it for a while, but it's now making that comeback with the added implementation of AI and perfectly crafted stories, because people connect the best when they feel. Another reason why it's believed there is a rise in escapism in brand marketing is because we're now oversaturated with authenticity and reality on social media. Most of us live repetitive lives, and we used to use social media as a place to escape. But now social media is a place where all they do is remind us daily of what we're all going through. And sometimes people just want to scroll and feel something different. So I wonder if the brands who do that will win, or will the win go to those who stay authentic? Personally, I feel there should be a balance of both. But which do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Let's provide a tech tip. Now this week's tech tip, we're talking about automations and workflows. Firstly, I define workflows as a process of instructions and actions given to your system designed to execute a particular function within a business process. But how should we think about this stuff practically, and where do we start? So there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Some people use workflows to create elaborate, complicated processes in one workflow, while others build processes in a chain of workflows. It will depend on what works best for you and how you think about your business processes. But here's how I usually advise our clients. First of all, you have to decide what process you're trying to improve on. A workflow is designed to create an improvement of a process that you've tried through manual actions. I don't advise that you start a process off based on a workflow. Try and run it a few times as a manual action to make sure you've ironed out the kinks and the things you need to do within the workflow, then create a workflow for it. Once you pick your process, create a step-by-step map of what it looks like. For example, if you use an appointment process, you can map out the steps like this. Number 1, confirm the appointment. Number 2, remind the client of the appointment. Number 3, the client attends the appointment. Number 4, the follow-up steps after the appointment. That's a full appointment process mapped out from start to finish. With this map in mind, you now pick one step and create either one or more workflows to automate that step. So, using the example we mentioned, let's look at step 1, confirming the appointment. Here are the typical actions you might have to take. Create a Zoom meeting, draft an email with a Zoom link in it, send an email confirming the meeting, create a calendar appointment, invite the person via email to the calendar appointment, so it can be saved in their diary. Now you've got these steps. Now here's how to use a workflow format to map out these steps clearly. So your workflow should have, firstly, a trigger. What is the external action someone must take to activate this workflow? So in our example, that could be filling out a form to book the appointment. After you've got your trigger, you need to have your internal actions. What changes within the business process need to be actioned on the basis of this trigger? So in our example, you can add a tag, you can update a pipeline, create the Zoom link, create the calendar invite. All of those things can be created off the back of that first trigger. Those are the internal actions. Then you have internal notifications. Who on your team needs to know what's happened? Using our system CodeBlue, we would send app notifications to say, hey, someone booked an appointment. Or you can send an email to tell the team member who's got the appointment an appointment's been booked. Then lastly, the external notification or updates. What does the client need to know or do for the workflow to be completed? So this would be an email going out to the client to tell them, hey, here are the details of your appointment. You would set up this action to make sure the system includes all the information such as the Zoom link, the time, and so on and so forth, so that email includes the information in it. You could also, in addition, send a text, or if you need the client to fill out a further form, you send out that form with the email or as a separate email. How complicated your workflow becomes depends on how much of the process you wish to automate at this stage. But if you follow those 4 steps, you're able to create a clear, concise, and simple workflow to help get your business automated. So just to recap, a trigger, internal actions, internal notification, external notification. And that's how you can create a simple workflow. This week at our Concept Corner, I am talking about email nurturing. Now, I saw a fantastic video the other day by a marketing genius in my network talking about how your email mailing list was like having a fridge, right? The idea of having a fridge and having food in your fridge is so that if you're hungry, you don't have to go out to the shop to buy new ingredients to cook, so on and so forth. You can either have food that you cooked already stored in the fridge, or you have food in the fridge that you can make very quickly. But the point of having a fridge and food in the fridge is so that you don't always have to go out or take long to get food when you're hungry. What's that got to do with business? Well, a mailing list and email nurturing is a similar concept. The whole idea is you've got leads, you've got people who are interested in your business, and you're nurturing them constantly, regularly, to ensure that if your clients dip, you can send out emails that would now attract clients or that will convert people in your mailing list who are ready to start working with you. Now let's expand on that a little bit. So many people, they run ads, they create lead magnets that attract people onto their mailing list. They might gather a mailing list of 1,000 people, 10,000 people, and they just leave them sitting there, not engaging with them at all. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal. Now, what often happens is suddenly sales dip and they suddenly want to generate more income. So they say, oh, let's send out an email to all of these emails we've collected for the past 6 months but haven't emailed once. The reality is, if you send somebody an email out of nowhere saying buy this thing, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to unsubscribe. Now, don't get it twisted. If you send them emails every day that are completely useless, 9 times out of 10, they're still going to unsubscribe. However, you are actually more likely to convert the people who do stay in your mailing list if you're emailing everybody regularly with value-driven content that isn't just asking them to buy. A rule of thumb for me is 1 out of every 4 to 5 emails should be an email selling something that you're offering. The others should be emails about testimonials, emails about your brand and the concept behind your brand, emails touching on their pain points and the reason why your services are useful to them, emails about how you're innovating your product to make it more beneficial for them. I'm not saying you can't speak about your product or service, but I'm saying your email shouldn't just be focused on selling them. Email nurturing is about nurturing the relationship between yourself and your mailing list over time, so that when you do have a special offer or you do want to offer them something, they're not like, wait, who's this? The example I gave you at the beginning, using the example I mentioned earlier, it's important to always have food in your fridge. If you wait till your food runs out before you go to the shops to buy more food, you're going to have a very difficult life. But if you constantly make sure that your fridge is stocked with food, then the day that you're lazy and you can't be bothered to go out, you're going to have food there automatically ready to eat, or at least easier to cook. So keep nurturing your leads. Unlike a fridge, you should keep them warm, not cold. Email them regularly. Some companies do every day, and every day is not an issue if you've got something valuable to say every day. Some people do every week, some people do every month. But as long as they receive value from you regularly, the moment you want to sell something, the probability that someone's going to buy is going to be much, much higher. So there you have it, guys. Another fantastic week. Really grateful for the team, really grateful for my clients, really grateful for my systems, and so excited to see what next week is going to bring for us. Please, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, press the bell, all that good stuff. And as usual, from me and everyone at Ken Blue, have a great week next week, and we'll see you again next week.